Cool.
Okay, do you want it to be like my usual intro to my podcast?
Yeah, sure. Do that. I'll just throw mine in when you give me the thumbs up.
Okay. Hey guys, it's Ruby, your favorite slut with morals.
Hey, this is Corey Maselli on the Corey Maselli Show. This is the Slut with Morals podcast, and it's also the Corey Maselli Show. We got Ruby May holding it down. Where in Texas are you, Ruby?
Dallas. I'm in Dallas, Texas,
baby. And then we got the sexy Viking piping in from Copenhagen. Where are you in Denmark, Matthias?
Faxe Ladeplads.
Say it again.
Faxe Ladeplads.
Yeah, there's no way anyone else could ever pronounce that, but some people from Denmark probably know what he's talking about. Anyway, we're going to get the show on the road today. I don't know the exact format, but we're going to talk about helping others and helping ourselves and just getting over things and moving forward, because this is sponsored by Squat Life. And our theme is whenever life gets heavy and gets you down, get fucking strong and stand up and keep moving forward. So let's just get right into this, Ruby. I sent you a couple like potential topics, and the last one you thought was a good one to start with. Could you read that topic real quick?
Yeah. That's the balance of helping others while helping yourself.
There you go. You want to just run with it, or you want me to start?
Oh yeah, you can start. Go for it.
Okay. I think there's a powerful lesson that took me a long time to learn. Was I really could not truly be the best version of whatever my role was. Father, friend, business owner, whatever the case is, when I was holding grudges against myself, because it would manifest in the way my behavior and virtually everything I would do. And, I think it's kind of a common hang up with people is they just have a hard time forgiving themselves, AKA loving themselves. And self-hate, I think, leads to a lot of problems in relationships and just lifestyle in general. So getting to the point where you can truly embrace, love, and appreciate yourself is like a huge step for like self-development and empowerment. And I think, looking at myself over the years, I would help others with like self-help. And I was like a very successful track record in working with clients and helping them build confidence and kick ass and like have powerful careers in athletics, entertainment, and like even in the financial world, oddly enough, with some of my clients. And I think to a point, I did that to kind of compensate for a lack of my
your own shortcomings,
belief in myself. What's that?
Your own shortcomings, like your own.
Yeah, whatever. I just holding on to some self-hate and like not really embracing that I deserved the success that I knew I was capable of achieving. So I would kind of live vicariously through my clients while they would like experience success, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
I didn't experience go ahead.
I actually just talked about this on a podcast episode where I was like, you actually, so my content kind of just like runs together. Sometimes I don't remember if I'm doing a TikTok or a video on Instagram or a reel or whatever, or I'm doing a podcast, because I've started finally like practicing what I preach. And so it is so hard to take your own advice. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
And I literally said, when you are out there with others, right, and you are helping them become successful, and then when it's your turn, you're like, well, wait, where are my friends? Like, who's helping me out, right? And then that's when you kind of got to realize that, like, a lot of the times when you've pushed everyone into being better, or because I tell people, I'm like, I leave everyone at least 50% better than when I first got there, right? And the whole thing about it is that you exhaust yourself in giving yourself to other people, and then when it's your turn, nobody's there for you. And you kind of have to really take a look around and realize that, you're like, why me? Why isn't the good stuff happening to me? Like, why isn't it going for me too? And you have to realize, like, you're always good to other people and you forget to be good to yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like, what, yeah, this ties into being like getting rid and eliminating and squishing out that self-hate with like a high vibrational perception of yourself. So I
Hmm.
had a close friend who was going through some shit, and one of her assignments was literally just to look in the mirror and tell herself that I think to say "I love you" to herself in the mirror. It took her like 18 months to be able to do it.
It's so hard.
Yeah,
It
it
is so
is.
hard.
I think I got to a point where like, oh, what do you want to call it, universe or God or whatever word you want to assign to a higher power,
Hmm.
finally just let me get in a position where it just like was like almost like a last resort. You're gonna love myself or just check out of here somehow. And when push came to shove, I just had this strange epiphany of like, if forgiveness was a real thing, use it and like use it and because it can be so powerful. And I think it was like me forgiving somebody else, like gave me that feeling of power. So I finally just had this epiphany after so many years. Why don't you just try forgiving yourself and see what it feels like? And it felt pretty damn good. It felt like it really empowered me. It changed my life. It kind of unlocked a bunch of, I get maybe like repressed energy that had been pent up for decades. So it gave
Right.
me a whole new like burst of energy in life and sparked my creativity and made like, made things better. Not that some things didn't get harder first, because it was like new development, like you're becoming a child in a way again. Some areas that you never let yourself really like be and manifest, you have to like, develop those skills. Even though the energy's there, look at a child, you got a ton of energy, they don't have a lot of direction. So it's kind of like you got to relearn like developmental steps and certain aspects of your psychology that may have been repressed for a long time. That's my take on it
Hmm.
anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you have to get to a point in your life where, and I just told this to my friend as well last night because, she got ghosted and stuff. And I'm like, dude, how dare you let my friend be treated like that? You know what I mean? Like you're watching your friends kind of go through like the dumb stuff that you already went through and you're like, dude, why are you like letting this happen? Like you have to stop like letting people bother your peace just because you're bored. You know what I mean? Like you get to a certain like elevation in your life, and you can call it a villain arc, you can call it a selfish era. I don't know what I'm in right now, but all I know is that like if it's not making me happy, if it's not, bringing me any peace to my life, if it's not bringing me joy, like I want no part in it whatsoever. Like I have become such a recluse because I think that my peace and my happiness is so much better than like going out and getting fucked up and, just like potentially like ruining myself. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
you have
that's
to
what I'm
really like
practicing. But I do know what you mean.
say it again.
I do know what you mean. Sure do.
Yeah, and you just kind of have to get to that point in your life where you really have to ask yourself like you really have to sit down and face your flaws and point them out and be like, where can I do better? Because honestly, and it's so cliche to say it, but you really cannot pour from an empty cup. Like you cannot help others if you yourself are empty. And so everything that you take in, everything that you digest, whether it's visually, audibly, whether it's everything even that you consume in your diet, you know what I mean? It's like if you talk shit to yourself, like I used to be the biggest mirror bully. Like I would look at myself and I would be like, you're the ugliest, fattest, ugliest fucking piece of shit I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, classic self-hate behavior.
Yeah, a lot of self loathing. And then a couple of like 2 months ago or so, I did my makeup and I got really pretty for no reason. And I was like, holy shit, I look hot, you know? And I was like, I really have the potential to be like a MILF. Like I know that this sounds funny, but I'm getting somewhere, I promise. I have a point.
Sure.
And then I
Matthias has
was
that
like,
potential also.
huh?
So Matthias also has that potential.
To be a DILF?
Yeah. I mean, but it was like I have to make those changes. And so literally that same night, I had a salad for dinner. And then I started like the next morning, I started working out and I've been at it since then. And I'm finally like seeing results. And I'm finally, you have to push yourself to be the best you. And a lot of the times that means getting away from the negative people,
Yeah, absolutely.
you know?
And I'll say, like, I was shout out to my guy, Born Rich. I was on his podcast last night. His big mantra is, you become your thoughts. I mean, you have a slightly different way of putting it, but like
Hmm.
controlling your thoughts and making sure you are putting those thoughts in a position to create the best outcome is like so critical. Your thoughts run wild. If they're unintentional, they can go down into a dark chasm really, really quickly. You know,
Yeah.
look what you just said. When you let your thoughts run wild, you start like literally attacking yourself, beating yourself up, both from the
Hmm.
inside out and outside in. So it kind of ties into his theme about making sure you're intentionally controlling your thoughts, specifically as it relates to who you are as a human being.
Oh, absolutely.
What do you think about that, Matthias?
About controlling your thoughts, well,
Yeah,
that's one of the most important things in this world. I mean, like, you can see, for example, Los Angeles is known to be like the best place on earth, like 30 years ago, and today is like filled with homeless people and addicts. I mean, is that maybe because people aren't controlling their thoughts and emotions and actions as much as they used to? You know?
that's a big question.
Yeah, it's like why do things fall apart here in the West, where things are supposed to be so good for like decades, and people
Well,
still they are?
here,
Why is it
let
going
me
that?
throw this in. I think both of you guys have someone that may have had like some kind of like argument or problem, or someone did them wrong, whatever the case is. The person tends to go into a loop mode. They'll literally repeat this. I cannot believe she did that. I cannot believe
Yeah,
she did that. I
yeah,
cannot believe she did that. Basically becomes a loop in a conversation.
yeah.
So
And
the
what are you
person really
doing?
started brainwashing themselves using like this, negative kind of thing, staying focused on this negative spin. Ruby, you know what I'm talking about, right? People
Yeah.
get, yes, how you can believe she did it or he did it. You can believe it happened. And standing there and saying how much you can't believe it doesn't change the fact that it did happen, and you better believe it and
Hmm.
move on with life. So just controlling your thoughts and putting a positive spin on whatever you've had to deal with is just paramount to like living a better life. It really is. But you guys agree with that? When people tend to like grieve or feel taken advantage of, it like becomes like a harpoon to their spirit, and they just keep circling around that same negative frequency, sometimes for years or for, I don't know, for an infinite period of time on occasion, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean that's why we have
Oh,
cancel
yeah.
culture. A lot of people were wrong somehow. They didn't get over it. Now they're projecting all their past trauma on everyone and canceling everyone for every little thing.
Right.
I mean, like Dave Chappelle, he's hilarious. Why did he have to get canceled? I mean, all he did was make fun of people, like comedians do, and he got canceled. Like, so he took some shots at addicts and women, like, and he got so what, you know? I mean, now he's
I
back, and he's still hilarious, and people love having him back, and still he's catching shit, and it's like people like trying to cancel him all over again.
Well, so Ronnie Radke, I don't know if you guys listen to Falling in Reverse, but Ronnie Radke just came out with a song called Zombified at the very end of last year, and it hit the #1 charts. And it was like #1 for 10 weeks in a row. And the song is called Zombified, and he literally says in the song, they won't let go of something you said 10 years ago. So now everyone's trying to cancel you. And it's so true. Like now we're all so worried about saying something controversial or having our own thoughts and opinions and feelings and stuff, when yet we're out here trying to be like, it's okay to have your own thoughts and opinions, but when we voice them, everyone's like, no, you're wrong.
Yeah, you have to pretend to be sorry so that I can forgive you. Like,
Exactly. Like the cancel culture is so stupid. Like just let people be, Like if they said something 10 years ago and they haven't grown and not being and like they keep saying it, or they keep, they're still a terrible person, like yeah, maybe cancel them. But if they said something 10 years ago and that's no longer their thoughts and feelings, and like they've grown as a person, like leave them alone, man. Just leave them alone. You know, they did their time. They're fine. They
I
grew
would
up.
say, yeah, just I'll like take what you're saying to the next level. And if they said it 10 seconds ago, move on, leave it alone. Don't let,
Exactly.
and my close brother Scotty Wise always says, we view that the attacks like that are coming directly at your spirit, and you don't have to let it in. You just
Hmm.
shield it out. maybe easier said than done. People are sensitive. People have their feelings hurt, but really we do have the power to protect ourselves from it when you really have that higher vibrational perspective of yourself, understanding that sooner you can get back into it, the more protected and powerful you're going to become. So anyway, I'll take it to the next level. Yeah, everything can have, to a point, everything can have a positive outcome. Really everything can, I'd say, if you want to get like super philosophical. But anyway, a spirit sniper does not have to have any power over you.
It's also really, like how can you truly cancel someone? Like, how is it possible to do something that causes a person to never be able to get their work out or their opinions out to the world? Like, so you get banned.
Thoughts are energy, so
you get banned on Twitter. You can't somehow make a new profile, at least like be like semi-anonymous, and people still know who you are. You can't just go on YouTube instead, or Facebook or something like that. You can't create your own
buy
website.
Fox News Network.
What?
You can purchase Fox News Network.
You can purchase Twitter.
Yeah, literally. But anyway, I don't think. Yeah, that's a big question, Matthias. I don't know. I'm not. I don't really pick late, especially as of late with our new Squat Life campaign. I'm really not following popular trends that much. I'm really just focusing on myself, the people in my circle, getting a positive message out. And the whole Dave Chappelle thing, doesn't even like resonate with me. I don't know what he said or know what he did. I pay like no attention to it. I really like what you hear me talk about, Matthias, is just what I focus on. The people in my network, doing the best I can to like help people out that are close to me and get in a position where I truly can leave a legacy. And like, when I breathe that final breath, say, damn, I'm happy with the job I did. So personally, I don't really pay attention to popular trends that much. In our conversations, I learn more about what's going on in culture than pretty much any other conversations I have. And even the other podcasts that I go on, we're really talking about like music and keeping it positive and helping other people and moving through. So some of those things don't even really resonate in the conversation to me. And I don't know. So just to understand my perspective, I'm really not that in tune with like pop culture. I'm just not. Unless it's music related, I probably don't know about it.
Well, that's funny, because you don't hear about rap artists getting like banned or anything. No. They can talk all the shit. They can talk all the shit in the world about women, and women are just gonna be like, oh yeah, if someone said it to me, I would slap him in the face. But this guy is rapping it. Oh, it's so cool. I want to fuck him.
It's funny you mention that, because I need to write like the artists in our network with Loud Money Music and Squat Life Entertainment. There's no music that's degrading to other people. That's kind of what I think sets our music vibe apart. Is it may not always be the most positive story. It could be some real life shit that some artists talk about, but none of the artists that we fuck with use degrading language towards other people. It's just not how it works. So to your point, yeah, it is kind of weird, Matthias, how you mentioned that, because the same person that would find offense to that behavior or that message in a real life scenario could like pump it down their, into their ear gate all day long and vibe to it. That's kind of creates an internal conflict in and of itself, I would imagine. What do you think of that, Ruby?
Oh no, yeah, I totally agree. I mean, like, I listen more to the rock genre and, like heavy metal, trap metal, like that's what I listen to. And what I have noticed is like these younger artists, this new talent that's coming out, like they're aware of cancel culture. And so, but I mean, also like rock music, like I've always listened to it for the lyrics, you know what I mean? Like hip hop, rap, I really can't get into it because like I don't know, like yeah, the beat's fun to dance to and stuff, but the lyrics, they don't resonate within me. You know what I mean? Like I could go off and take a rock song and I will completely dissect it, and I will look at every lyric and everything that resonates within me. I'm like, yeah, man, like that's my shit, like
for sure.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a personal challenge and to find some hip hop or rap music that has lyrics that you really vibe to. If you're at least open to checking them out, but I think there's probably some. Give me an example of some like heavy metal music you like.
Oh gosh,
I
that
know
would
it's
be
weird.
like Born
You listen
Ashore.
to music all the time, and it's a hard question to answer. So, but if you can, yeah, I'm just curious, just on a personal
Lorna
level.
Shore, I Prevail, A Day to Remember. Um, of course, like older classic heavy metal would be like Metallica. Avenged Sevenfold is actually one of my favorite bands. I have them
Yeah,
tatted on me, actually.
cool.
Um, so yeah, I mean, there's just so many bands out there that I really love. A new band that just came out that sings trap metal, that's trap metal, is Dropout Kings. And their song I Ain't Depressed, like, oh my God, that song is right now is like the song that makes me go hard at the gym.
Yeah, I'll check it out for sure. Hey, let's talk
Yeah.
about the gym a little bit. Like, what are your goals for your exercise, your training, physique, all those things? What are your personal goals, Ruby?
My personal goal is to be a size 6, but that's like my long-term goal. My short-term goal is just to weigh like 170 by my birthday, which is like 2 months away. So I'm like 20 pounds away.
Okay.
So yeah.
Well, let me share something with you. You might find this interesting. Hopefully, some of the listeners do too. A lot of times, people ask me to get into like like fitness training and performance training and share some of those things because it's like been my career for like a long time. So I'm going to talk to you about a type of training modality. It's called PHA training. It stands for peripheral heart action. And really, what it is, we all know that by this point in our like modern fitness culture, when you build new muscle tissue, your metabolism advances at a faster rate, right?
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm hungry all the
And
time.
what's that?
I'm hungry all the time.
Yeah, there you go. In the PHA training, it's a type of circuit training that uses like big, heavy compound movements. Like you could do 6 exercises in a row. There's a style, the movement type within that pattern would always be a push from the lower body, a pull from the upper body, and a movement that really like challenges your core strength. So you could use like a squat, a pull up. This is a pretty aggressive move. Like you do a high rep, a heavyweight high rep squat, followed by a heavy row or pull up or some movement like that, followed by an ab wheel, followed by an intense lunge set, followed by say an upright row, another upper body pull, and then figure out another core exercise at the end. So just hearing me talk about it might not sound that challenging, but when you combine those big macro movements where it's a continuum, where like it basically becomes one giant set of 6 different exercises that are all very demanding on your cardiopulmonary output, it really advances your metabolism at a much faster rate. And just through like bodybuilding culture, people have been programmed to look at a workout split that has to look like arms this day, legs that day, back this day. Whereas like the PHA, the peripheral heart action method, is training your body as a complete unit. I'll say every time you train, not that you have to incorporate that methodology, but for people that are looking to get lean, toned, advance their metabolism, see like a fast change in body weight, from my experience, it's like the most efficient, fast way of doing it. Period. It was fathered by a guy named Bob Gaida, who wrote a book, Total Body Fitness. I believe it was published in 1964, and the book was like 100 years ahead of its time because people are still catching up to it. It's pretty cool. But anyway, PHA training for people out there looking at like making a real big impact and changing their metabolism quickly. I would suggest learning a little bit about it and applying it because you will see results quickly.
What about having more like a normal body part split or like upper lower split and still using the principles, but just not with like full body?
Well, you could combine, you could like do a hybrid approach where you're doing 2 days a week of like the total body unit training, the PHA training, and then integrate it into whatever other type of training pattern you want to use. But there's nothing wrong with using PHA training every time you work out, just how you want to structure it.
Hmm.
But does what I said make sense to you at all, Ruby?
Oh yeah, I'm writing it down. See, I'm taking notes.
Cool. And yeah, I can
Yeah.
I can send you some info. Like when we follow up, it'll make it a little. I can send you some really good info on it. Let's put it that way. Might be a little meticulous to get into on the show, but yeah, I got a bunch of information I can send you.
Yeah, go for it.
Cool.
I'd
Because
appreciate that.
and there's another thing to consider for just anybody listening. why is like real active, dynamic, cardio-based activity better? I would consider, your traditional static type cardio output, treadmill, elliptical, stationary bike, etc. Because here's the reason why. Because the heart is a pumping mechanism. Yes, we realize that, but the pulse of your body really is systematic. Your heart, it's not just your heart that pulses. There's a pulse that flows through your entire body. And when we use like a static cardiovascular response, aka treadmill, elliptical, etc., you're just getting that heart rate to accelerate without really getting a thorough like flow of blood deep into the tissues, and like challenging like how much saturation you can get in your tissue with that blood. Blood carries nutrients, it carries oxygen, it pulls out toxins, it heals. So really keeping your blood flow optimal as an intentional part of your exercise plan is really, really important too, especially when you start getting the topics like anti-aging, because like reduced blood flow in the smaller like capillaries in your body is very responsible for the aging effect. So keeping that blood flow at a maximum is like a huge component of fitness that a lot of people never really address also.
Right.
So you're basically saying that moving a lot in a lot of different ways is going to inhibit aging and makes you lose fat faster.
Yes, correct.
Who would have thought? But what you're also saying is like putting it together in like a full body fashion gives like that extra edge.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Interesting.
Well, you look at like some indigenous people, they're like the seniors in those those cultures are usually in pretty darn good shape. You see like 75, 80-year-old men that are still out like climbing trees and hunting, and like their bodies look pretty fit and active because they never let themselves get sedentary. Fighting off that the results of sedentarism, this culture is like, I don't know exactly why, but the lack of intentional exercise based on just lifestyle, common lifestyle in this culture has created a plague, really. That's why the big pharma is like out of control with what they do, because you've got a remedy that actually just exacerbates the problem, and it's spun out of control. We've got, one of the most prosperous nations in the history of existence, if not the most, and you've got a body of citizens where health is like deteriorating. Now, granted, some people are at a spectrum of like phenomenal fitness, in great shape. World records are still broken, and Mr. Olympias keep looking better. Same time, your average person walking down the street is still like chasing health and fitness because our culture is naturally built around sedentarism, a big part of it anyway.
And this kind of reminds me of like reading through history, like the greatest like bodybuilders and powerlifters and strongmen and even oddlifters, like before powerlifting was even a thing, that it seems to me that the best of the best would usually have, or at least have had, a physically demanding job, at least have had it before they really went into the training, or they had it like during. And a lot of them also like they kind of trained full body every day. It might not have been like real full body, but like one exercise for lower body on an upper body day, for example, at least that, or
some kind of like, I follow, like the Russians call it, I think like the 7-year base principle or something, where when an athlete embarks on any kind of specific fitness or athletic journey, having a real powerful foundation of physical exertion for a fairly extended period of time, absolutely is like a big factor in how much success that athlete's going to have.
Yeah.
Hey, let's change subjects a little bit. Ruby, I've always talked about like your emotions being like powerful fuel for like effort can one give in exercise or athletics or fitness, whatever it is. Do you do anything to like intentionally get your mind in a specific state before you go to the gym?
So right before, I put on like a dance playlist, and believe it or not, it's like Whitney Houston or Lizzo, or you know what I mean?
Sure.
But then once I'm at the, and that's just kind of like to wake me up and to like, put me in like that good mood, because I'm like, I already don't like going to the gym. Like, I know everyone's just like, oh, I love going to the gym and da da da, but it's like, I really don't. Like, I don't want to be there, you know, but now I'm dedicated. Like, it's no longer about motivation for me. It's about, I've made this my routine. I'm here. I'm going to get shit done, you know? Like,
Okay.
and that doesn't mean like you don't have to like going to the gym all the time. You know what I mean? Like, so so once I'm there, I'm like, okay, this is what I'm going to do today, and then I focus in on it. But there are times when I'm not hitting that energy that I have, and there are a few songs that like I have on my playlist that remind me of like what I
Who the fuck you are?
exactly. Like, there's a song called "Whore" by In This Moment, and it's essentially, you know, it's like a gut wrenching song. Like, she talks about how, you know, like he pretty much just like left her, like broke her heart and was just like, okay, bye, you know, and like never worried about her ever again. And then he finally like sees her, and she's like, I could have been your everything. But just like all of the angst in her song, or like in her voice, is like, it just takes me to that spot where I'm like, yes, like it is my, like I said, it's my villain era, it's my villain arc right now, you know what I mean?